Hello, everyone. Welcome to Antea's live stream. My name is Angela Saldivar. I am with Antea. I'm the AIM and RBI specialist. While we are waiting for people to connect, I'd love to know who everyone is. Go ahead and leave some comments in the chat. Let us know who you are and where you're from.
My name is Floyd Baker. I'm the Vice President of Antea in North America. But we support our groups from all over the globe. We've got 7 offices in 5 different countries. So global asset integrity management.
Yep, let's go ahead and get started. So a couple of weeks ago, we had a deep dive into digital twin. So we'd like to kind of touch base on digital twin. Today, we have some high level topics that we'd like to go over. First one being, the execute and the vision. Floyd, do you want to start us off with that?
Sure. I mean, it's really all about it takes commitment. So that vision has to come from upper all the way down to lower level people who will be impacted by the whole concept. So first you have to have that commitment. The other part of that is have some courage. There's a little risk out there for people in the industry to try new things. We're all kind of a little bit risk averse when it comes to that new technologies and disruptive technologies. So you kind of got to look at it from that perspective and have the courage to take those next steps. That's kind of where I see it. You got to have commitment from the whole organization. That means from the CEO all the way to the level of people with their hands on it.
Yeah, I agree. One of the things I've noticed in this industry is a lot of people don't actually know what digital twin is. And I know when I first got into this business, I was kind of lost when we would talk about those aspects. Can we explain a little bit about what digital twin is real quick?
Sure. So there's a lot of different places you can use the term digital twin. But from our perspective, or from my perspective, the way I see it, a digital twin isn't just a digital representation of a physical thing. To me, it has to have life as well. It needs to speak to you. It has to tell you things. It needs to be able to communicate with you. And in order to do that, you have to have connectivity to other platforms, connectivity to the physical asset, and connectivity to human interactions as well. This is kind of my opinion. It's just a digital representation does not make it a digital twin. To me, a digital twin looks and acts just like the physical asset. So it's a complete digital representation, living digital representation of a physical asset. That's the way I define it.
Okay, and we have, scalability, how you would execute having a digital twin. I know you talked about, executing it by taking one bite at a time out of an elephant. You wouldn't just eat the whole thing. So how would that look with doing a digital twin?
Sure, that's the scary, daunting part. That's the daunting part of the whole situation. We had our webinar with Jeffrey Gann a couple of weeks ago, and he and I talked a little bit about this and some of the hurdles, or let's just say pitfalls, that people have experienced when considering digital twin in these asset intensive environments is taking on too much at a time. So we actually can create a digital twin of an entire facility. But is that where you would start? Well, of course not. That's where you're going. That's the journey. So you start digital transformation by digitizing first everything. And the other part of that is connectivity, so that you're actually creating a single version of the truth, and you don't have different data silos speaking different languages. So that's your digital transformation journey. So digital twin is a milestone in that journey. And the first step in that milestone is really more experiment first. Experiment small and make your mistakes at a lower cost. So that's the first. The second is, like you mentioned, Angela, it's like trying to eat an elephant. You're going to eat that elephant one bite at a time. So choose smaller area and digitize the whole area. Create your 3D models, create your smart 2D, 3D models, create your, if you're going to use point cloud to create 3D models, then do that as well, but do it small and if you're going to make mistakes, you make them on a smaller scale. But the most important thing is finish the small project. Then you can see exactly what it is. You'll learn what that digital journey looks like. And then you start to scale out to the rest of the plant and grow that into a complete digital refinery or petrochemical plant or power plant or offshore platform. Doesn't matter. But you scale into it. You just don't want to try to, you'll fail. You will fail if you try to take on too much at one time.
Yeah, you can pretty much say the same thing for any mechanical integrity program that's going to be implemented at a facility. It seems like it's going to be overwhelming at first, but start breaking the tasks up and start doing it one at a time. And before you know it, you're exactly where you want to be.
Direct relationship, it's like mechanical integrity insofar as you always want to scale into a mechanical integrity program before converting over or transforming it into an RBI program, simply because if you jump straight from one to the other, you're going to show high risk everywhere. It's the same concept. You scale into where you want to be, and you take those steps to get to it. Again, it's a journey. It's not a project. It's a journey.
So I know we have quite a bit of awesome scenarios of case studies and things that we've done in the past with Antea and with Digital Twin. Can you give some examples of one, Floyd?
So, sure. I mean, again, scaling into we have customers that have been in this space for quite some time now. Antea actually, I believe, was the first to introduce 3D models into an asset integrity management platform in 1996, I believe it was. And then there shortly after was introducing 3D point cloud data to create a digital twin somewhere thereafter, and I can't remember the exact year. So a lot of our customers are already well along their way in that journey. So we've been able to reach out to them and query them for results. What are they seeing from it? Where do they find the value? And some of the things I can recall, and actually myself and Linda Salinas from Texmark did a presentation at Connected Plant in Austin this year. And we talked about this specifically because Texmark, being the refinery of the future, is well on its way as well. And we talked about where they found savings, and they found it in things like, well, insurance for one. They got a $50,000 waiver on premiums right off the bat after implementing a platform, period. And it wasn't so visual at the time, but it was on that journey, meaning it was a lot of data. It was managing that data, scheduling, implementing, executing, and showing that they were doing what they needed to do to reduce risk in their facility. The other part of that was, and the largest, was time to find. I mean, time to find, if you think about, looking for data out in a facility and you're trying to find information on, say, a specific flange on a pressure vessel, you might have to go to 3 or 4 different places just to find all the information on that particular asset, much less the components that it's attached to it. You might be in the maintenance department, you might be in the inspection department, you might be over in engineering, but you're going to go 3 or 4 different places. And that means even if you're digitized, you still do that electronically. And then the question then is, do you have access to those folders, those shared folders, So it's just time to find was the greatest savings. And with our numbers, we came up with, and this is across about 10 plants, I believe, 10 different customers. We normalized the number to be $1.7 million savings per year. And the example here was 1,000 assets, approximately 200 employees, a plant around 50,000 barrels per day. So that's huge cost savings. $1.7 million is a lot of money to save. And that time to find number is really easy to understand. And it's really easy to obtain that kind of an ROI in this situation.
I could definitely speak from the time to find as a user. Case scenario, when I was owner user, that was our biggest problem. Maintenance has something, they have all their documents, and then engineering has their documents, inspection has their documents, and it takes a really long time to get everything you need. So kind of bridging those gaps and making sure that you have all the documentation you need to move forward with the decision. And I definitely think that was one of the biggest highlights I noticed when I got with Antea.
Yeah. And Jeffrey Gannon and I talked about this in that webinar too, that deep dive webinar. And it's integration is what's key here. We talked about these different data silos. So if you integrate these data silos, because we know those different groups that might have information or different tools they use to manage data. But if you integrate those into the system, into the platform, then you're actually creating that single version of the truth. You don't end up with you can tear down those data silos, so to speak. To me, that's a very key point that he made. You can't just have a database of asset integrity information, risk-based inspection information, and expect that it live like that. It's not sustainable. It just isn't sustainable. The only way it's going to remain sustainable is integrations to legacy systems and other third-party platforms.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us. And if you'd like to hear more about Digital Twin and you missed the webinar a couple of weeks ago, go ahead and send us a direct message. We can get that over to you. You also can find the ebook that Floyd wrote on www.antea.tech/resources. Stay tuned for our webinars. Let's see what else we have. Anything else you have, Floyd?
Yeah, any other questions that you might have that we didn't get to answer during this short live stream, please feel free to send them on to info@antea.tech. That's info@antea.tech. And as Angela mentioned, we do have an ebook I published on the topic a month or so ago, and you can find that at www.antea.tech/resources. And of course, you can also find the deep dive webinar from a couple of weeks ago with myself and Jeffrey Gann. Thank you guys. And if there's any other things that you want to talk about on our live stream, please feel free to add them, send your suggestions on to info@antea.tech. We look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you.
You guys have a blessed day. Have a Merry Christmas and be really safe through this new year.